On January 10th and 13th, two record-breaking coastal storms hit Maine back-to-back, and they led to some of the highest water levels we've ever measured along the coast since we started measuring in the early 1900s. And this sort of thing, extreme coastal flooding events, has been happening more frequently throughout the globe, and that's because sea level is rising. So this is what we've measured so far, and I think what I often think about is that when we compare this to what we might be expecting in the future, here's what we've measured so far in Portland. And the blue shading is showing the range of possible amounts of future sea level rise based on the scenario that Maine has adopted for its planning targets. Looking into the future, we're expecting sea level to start rising faster. So Maine, for example, has committed to managing 1.5 feet of sea level rise in 2050 and 4 feet in 2100. And those numbers are large compared to the 7.5 inches we've already seen and have already been challenged by dealing with the impacts of that 7.5 inches.
I'm very concerned because it will 100% happen again. When you put a static structure in a dynamic zone, such as the ocean or the sand, and with rising sea levels and more storms, and for whatever reason you want to call it, it's happening here and now. And if we don't come up with a plan to what we're going to do with pieces of property like that, it's going to cause problems up and down the eastern seaboard.
The people and businesses who are impacted in Maine are extremely resilient. They're experiencing devastating intergenerational loss, and almost in the same breath, they're asking, how should I rebuild? How high, how strong, or should I even rebuild at all? And those are absolutely critical questions to ask right now. The impacts we've recently seen, those are the impacts from just 7.5 inches of sea level rise, and we're preparing for a lot more in the future. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for communities for sea level rise. In some cases, communities might be able to incrementally adapt, and in other cases, they might have to grapple with the challenging reality that they need to relocate. Observing the impacts, experiencing the impacts of sea level rise can cause fear or hopelessness, but I can't emphasize how important it is that we don't throw up our hands and give up. Mitigation or reducing greenhouse gas emissions is still extremely important. Every 1/10 of a degree of warming matters for sea level rise.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.